remember what the segment's called, but
he's having a
Here you
year.
go. What were you going to say? What sort of year was it, Em? Apparently your reply was, mate, do you know who I am? Em had a sip of that stupid water bottle for the 6th week in a row.
Oh, mate, yeah, with a straight face. Can crack a smile.
All right. Here we go, Em. Well, welcome back. Season 2. Same 2 hosts. One less sponsor. We've got the arse. But we're back. Better down back for Season 2 due to popular demand. Yeah, we've started late, but we're into it.
Perfect. I love that you just put the sponsor in there. That was really smart of you. That's good planning ahead to be like, I'm going to put it out there early so whoever's listening at the very beginning, you may only hear 30 seconds, but you know to send the club an email to sponsor the podcast because it's bloody good.
Yeah, dropped like a hot potato, so just thought I'd sink the boots in.
Anyways, we're back, feeling good. I think we should just set the scene for all the viewers. I know they're going to see it, but we are in a different environment right now. And the wonderful media team behind us have just done the best backdrop I've possibly ever seen and explained before that every single, there's tiny squares on this backdrop that they would have had to individually make.
Yeah, it took us about a week to put together.
Us.
I jumped in there and helped them out. So, yeah, it's quite a
In all
diligent
your
process.
spare time.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that should be focusing on some football actually, in fact, but whatever.
Oof, subtle dig.
Anyways, obviously, speaking of football, we just played Collingwood, but I won't touch on that until a bit later. But on the weekend was Mother's Day as well. So you guys actually played Thursday night, which meant that you got the whole weekend off.
Yep.
What did you do? How did you celebrate your mum? Talk us through that.
Yeah, no, we went, my family down south. Yeah, it was a pretty quick weekend. Yeah, and all my brothers have girlfriends, and so do that. So we're all down there. Mum wanted a Kindle to read books
Love
on.
it.
I think
She's
that's
so
what you do with them.
cute.
So we all tipped in for the Kindle, and yeah, so it was quite a quick but nice weekend. It's sort of when footy's on, it gets a bit rushed and all that sort of thing. So shot back to Perth Sunday arvo and had Mother's Day with Paige's mum. So yeah, it was quite a busy Sunday for me.
Beautiful.
How about
Sounds
yourself?
Incredible. Wooly, she's a simple lady, my mother. She's not really. She's quite complex, actually. But she saw us all at different intervals over the weekend. She saw me Friday night. And my mum's not a very girly person, as you know, Jord. But we did a flower-making workshop, and she was bloody horrendous at it. But she made her own flowers, didn't want to keep mine. She's a very independent lady, so loved that. And then on Saturday, my youngest brother, Aiden, went to Northam and saw her. And then I think she actually came down to watch Nathan play PL on the weekend as well. So her weekend revolves around footy, of course.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was great Mother's Day. Had the best time. And then obviously we'll go back to the weekend and say, I saw you went fishing and that's been one of your hobbies.
Yep.
Was that down south or back in Perth? Talk us through, when did this come about? Because I didn't even know you fished.
Yeah, well, I'm not a flat-out fisherman, put it that way. I try, and I try very hard. No, I went up north in the off-season and tried my hand at fishing without luck, I should say. No, down south on the weekend, just wet the line. Paige actually outfished me, caught about 3 little fish, but, yeah, nothing size. We didn't... Even if they were, we're not going to keep them anyway, so it didn't matter. But
Just catch and release,
yeah. But more importantly, I got to sit back on the beach and have a cold beer and watch the fish get reeled in by Paige. So it was a great weekend.
Beautiful, beautiful. And this morning as well, you're obviously on the media train because you were actually at Nova before. Another one of your hobbies. He loves to do media, helped out with the backdrop and speaks on radio.
Yes.
How's that been going?
Well, for those that don't know, we both work at Nova, but... They like to have me over Em at the moment. I'm the favourite docker. I don't know how that's come about.
I was actually going to say, I don't think they would have known about you if it wasn't for me, in fact. So I believe that this podcast has really increased your trajectory in the media industry. And without you obviously doing some voice training here, I don't believe that they would have you on the #1 breakfast show in Perth.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I am on the #1 breakfast show in Perth, and Sean whispered in my ear that the views have gone through the roof today. So, no, that's just an absolute lie.
Has it been good though?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Good crew, something different to start my mornings. Waking up Perth in the morning. Feel sorry for the people who have to whack on Nova and listen to me talk rubbish. But no,
I think that's the key though, right? What I love about Nova is it's not just so like footy. Like they actually get a background of you as a person. It's fun. It's lighthearted. You can actually talk rubbish and that's okay.
Yep.
I think that's what my favourite part about it is.
Yeah, no, my favourite part certainly is that too. It is a very relaxed sort of style of radio. You sort of, without knowing anything about it before I first went in, I was like, didn't know what to expect, didn't know how cruisy it was, and then, went in there and, yeah, great bunch of people, get to hang out with them. And
to be honest, it actually gives us hope. We've got potty mouths at the best of times, but Sean McManus would have to have the biggest potty mouth ever. He came in to speak to us girls once during our finals campaign, and literally every second word was either an F or it got to the extreme of saying the C word. So I'm like, how this man sits on radio every day and pulls it together, that's persistence, that's resilience. We love you, Shawnee Mac.
Yeah. And just be careful throwing him under the bus. You are one of the best at swearing in every... You might be every third word, I reckon.
I started hands in the air ownership of
okay, good.
I'm a potty mouth. So I'm saying it gives me hope that I can actually be on radio one day or do this,
Yep. No, you're 100% correct. But, Em, your off-season, it's been quite a long off-season for the girls. I imagine. How long's it been exactly? Do you know?
Well, you threw out 6 months before.
Yeah, this is like they've started pre-season or the testing week this week. It's like the Dennis Lilly run-up. They're coming that far back to have a go at the time trials, but that's all right.
Yeah, so just for context for people, obviously we only get to play a small amount of games. So this year it actually increases to 12 games. But that just then means that our pre-season's a 3-month period. So we start pre-season officially this month. We started this Monday. But it means prior to that, you're obviously doing extra work. And that would have been from December all the way to through until April. So, yeah, how long's that? December? It is about 4 to 5 months of a pre-season block. But obviously, not to discount the work that everyone's done here to enable us to come in 3 times a week in that period, get better at our fundamentals. We figured out last year we were literally 18th in the comp for fundamentals. So to come in and do some skill work has been absolutely incredible. And then I will give a shout out to the boys, our male players as well. They've been coming down on Thursdays. And I did want to touch on that, Jorg, because I think it's really important that we obviously create that kind of amalgamation within both programs to have both the men's and women's players working together. And you came down for a Thursday session and did some skills with us, and that was bloody incredible. And I think it's going to hold us in good stead for the rest of the year where we can both support each other too. Just talk us through, I guess, what was that experience like for you, but also how good was it to have some of the boys come down and obviously help us? Yeah,
no, you're right. Touched on that. That feels like ages ago now. But yeah, there was a period there for a couple of weeks, I think it was, maybe 2 nights a week, where a few of the male players were going down and helping the women's out with a few different skills, one from each line, whether it be a back, forward, a mid, that sort of thing, and target a few specific drills for those lines, I guess. And obviously everyone had a crack at them. But, yeah, no, it was something that, is pretty cool. It was able to gel with the girls. Obviously, like you touched on, you've spent a long time away from the club and that sort of thing. So it's good to see you guys back. And, I can vouch to say that the girls have been in a lot, even when it's been their off-season. And I think Freo might go a long way this year with the amount of work you guys are putting in. So hopefully that can translate. So, and it was good to actually spend a bit of time with Webby and more some of the senior players and get to build those relationships, I suppose. It's probably one of those things where the boys travel throughout the year. Your season's a bit differently lined up to ours, and we don't get to really spend that much time together as much as people
And it's
think.
hard. Like, I'm going to be devil's advocate here and say, like, the actual immersion of both programs is very hard to do. We can't even do a podcast for an hour each week and try and fit it in our schedules because they are literally at opposite times. Like, it's not easy to do. And I always say to people, everyone has different personalities in normal society, you don't go out and become best friends with every single person you meet. So it's like in here is the exact same principle. You're going to vibe with different people more than you are others. And it doesn't mean that all of us in the men's and the women's program need to be best mates, but we obviously need to be able to work together as colleagues. So I think activities like that was awesome. And just for the viewers, Jordan actually just taught us how to run our mouths, not actually any skill-based
I don't think you
stuff.
needed any help with that, Em.
But no, anyways, you did mention my physio as well. So at the moment, we have kicked off pre-season. We'll be doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays and Saturdays here at the club, and my physio work will continue on a Monday and a Wednesday. I have dropped to 2 days. It was obviously pretty tough to balance the two last year, and obviously wanted to dedicate my Tuesdays to the podcast because it means so much to me.
Yep. And just on that, do you ever, because you are a physio, fully qualified physio, do you ever pull up a little bit ginger and walk into the physios and go, nah, it's definitely the hammy today, and do you give yourself treatment at home? Do you ever do that? I've been wanting to ask you this forever.
That's so wild that you never have. But yes, I definitely need to watch my mouth sometimes because I think I can come in with an idea about what it is, and I hate that because then once you're fixated on something, you'd be the same. If you're like set that, something is your knee and then they tell you otherwise, it's hard and you don't even know anything.
Yep.
For me, it's like, no, I know I've been palpating my knee or I've been touching this joint. I'm like, I know it's this. I've gone for a walk. I've done a hop test. And the worst thing is trying not to test it at home.
Yep.
I've been told 35,000 times by the physios, don't test it. What am I doing? I'm doing a knee to wall or I'm doing a squat and I'm testing things out, which is terrible. And the second thing is I do have a physio table at my house and dry needles. No, but I have tried to needle my quad once, and I think your brain just tells you don't hurt yourself, and so it just doesn't allow it to happen.
Yep.
Like you can't even get the needle in.
Yeah. Oh, I don't go to the physios and go, I've got a sore, whatever it is, because to be honest with you, I only know the main muscles, the calves, the hammies, a couple of quads.
Couple of quads.
Well, I've got one on each leg, and that's about all I know. So some of those words you popped out before, wouldn't have
Nothing
a clue
upper body?
about. So I've got a
Upper body's a
tricep
bit
actually.
unfamiliar for you.
I did a tricep, and pecs. Well, I don't have any. Have you seen me with a footy jumper on? So
Speaking of, I guess, anatomy, I've actually got the best story for you, but it's not about human anatomy. It's actually about cows.
yep.
Now, Jord, Paige, your girlfriend, has a farm. They don't do cattle, though.
No
Correct me if
cows.
I'm wrong.
No.
Sheep?
They got sheep.
Okay, so a farm animal.
Yep.
But a cow is obviously a very large animal.
Not when it's born.
Not when it's born, but they're still quite big, if I'm honest. So I recently went up to, we had a 2-week break before the start of pre-season, went up to Dongara. My family have a house up there and then a farm 20 k's east of Dongara, which is pretty cool. Inland.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
nice. And it's a cattle farm, and the O'Driscolls have never done cattle before, so like kind of newbies in this industry have got a new farmhand in who actually specialises in like pregnancy tests for cattle and birthing and all of that, which is awesome because obviously when you have cattle, you want them to breed and you want to have the most amount of babies,
It's a
basically.
lot of steak too.
A lot at stake, exactly. So anyways, went out there for the day and it's calving season, so I got to see the little baby cows and oh my goodness, they are so cute. If you've never seen a little baby, you've seen a calf before.
I've seen baby cow. Yep.
Yep, baby cow. Not the ones on your legs. Anyways, they're very, very cute. And turns out this mum was actually struggling to birth her cow, and
How did you know? Did the cow tell you that she's struggling?
Yeah. It was a long-winded moo. No, so we're with this girl Billy, who knows what she's doing, obviously.
Yep.
And apparently, labour for a cow, 20 minutes. 20 minutes if it's not out, they're in trouble. Which I'm like, that's wild because humans would be in labour for a whole day.
Right.
So anyways, she just knew. Apparently when they start running as well, that more activity, I guess, is meant to happen where the calf's meant to come out basically as the mum starts running if we like scare her with the ute or whatever. Didn't happen. So she's like, we've got to get the cow up to the yards. And full on, like in the movies, you see the gloves go up to here. And I've just seen a baby cow get pulled out of its mother.
Yep.
It was just like eye-opening.
I just want to point out and
Have you got a
say,
question?
no, just a statement. It's very impressive that a cow who's going through labour can get up and run away from a ute.
Yeah.
That's crazy tough.
Well, I mean, crazy tough, and she clearly didn't have any further muscle contraction to get it out.
That mum's made of the right stuff.
Yeah,
I reckon. She's a tough cookie.
So maybe that's what we need one award for this year. The toughest goes to the heifer.
Yeah.
The heifer award.
So with all these cows, what's the
word?
Are you keeping the cows or are you selling them for meat? What are you doing? What sort of cows are they?
So Angus.
Yeah.
Apparently
beautiful.
apparently that's the only meat anyone wants these days is Angus beef. So all the cows on the farm, black Angus.
Yeah.
And obviously, yes, it's a breeding program. So obviously lots of mobs, lots of bulls now want to get as many babies as we can. And then obviously as they get older, or if they're a male cow, unfortunately, they usually go to the meat factory. Anyways,
males
it's
got it tough out there, don't they? But that's all right. Hopefully we can get an O'Driscoll's sponsored meat pack.
Oh, that would be nice.
And it just lands in my lap every week.
Perfect.
Great.
A raffle that only 2 names go into, mine and yours. Absolutely beautiful. But I thought I'd actually just touch on that story because I thought it was good if we got time to yap and may as well give an eye-opening, full circle, circle of life story to start your Wednesday morning.
No, you've done a good deed, Em. Well done. Well done. You're still not getting my anchor in action, though.
Oh, my God.
But apart from Dongra, you've been hitting the regions over your off-season.
Yep.
You've been to Exmouth. You've been to Dunsborough.
I went to Denmark we call ourselves the Big Mothers, but actually it was like one of 4 years ago now at Freo. My little girl gang consisted of Steph Kane, who's now the Essendon captain, Jazz Stewart, who is now at Port Adelaide, Tildy, myself, Laura Pugh, and Stannett. So that was our little girl gang. We made these Big Mother episodes, obviously like Big Brother, when we're in COVID hubs and things like that. So we've managed to stick together, and then all the girls came back to WA. So went down to Denmark. It was cold. Wineries are also really good down there. I think it's an underrated place, if I'm honest.
Wouldn't know.
We'll get down there.
I do know. I lived in Albany for 5
Oh, yeah.
years.
So you keep saying that because I keep saying you're a city slicker, but you're not. Well, there you go. Familiar roads. Really enjoyed it. Anyways, also just wanted to point out that it actually was my birthday as well. It's just completed my birthday month. And Jordan meant to be my close family friend. I say, everyone always asks me, why do you do the podcast with Jordan? I was like, oh, like we're family friends from before. Like, think, it'll work. Chemistry, it's going to be great. The man has not replied to me. I reckon I could see like 3 consistently blue messages in my messages to you that you just don't want to reply to. Yet you're happy to have a chin wag here.
I'll just check that. Keep talking.
No, I'm just saying. So
are you talking about your birthday?
Yep. I had my birthday and obviously my parents invited Jordan's parents to my birthday party. Great. Jordan's whole family. Great. I've messaged Jord just saying, hey, if you and Paige are around, would obviously love for you to pop in, but I was just kind of telling people as I saw them.
That's just... Hey, you were just full of it.
That's just... You can't even get your bloody... Oh... You didn't reply. Have you deleted some? You didn't reply to my birthday one.
So the birthday one, I'll actually be honest here. I had a separate birthday that I was invited to. Official invite, might I add, that I had to go to on the night of M's 45th or whenever it was.
25th quarter century.
And then she texts me on the day, come to my party tonight, you're invited, your parents are invited. And I was like, well, that's no good to me.
Well, you text me on the day when to rock up for this, and I have to make it work with my 10 jobs. So I'd expect better. You could compromise.
Tell you what.
Anyways, ruffle of the paper, and we're moving on.
You talked to a financial advisor in your off-season too and realised how bad you're going, apparently.
No. I wanted to go
Sounds like you're your own worst enemy.
Oh.
Made me feel very something about my spendings.
Yeah, I did speak to a financial advisor. I think it's really important you know where your money's going. And I actually have no idea about shares. And my family do, but I'd rather ask someone that actually knows rather than them giving me their opinion that is certainly biased. So I went because I've just got savings and I don't have anywhere that I'm investing. Obviously, my super fund hopefully is saving me some cash for retirement for when I'm up in Exmouth having a fish.
Whoa, you're already jumping to conclusions this early on.
No.
Yeah. Deal, you're doing a good job.
No, but yeah, went to a financial advisor and probably spent a bit too much money on the old wines on the weekend maybe, but
that's all right. Can't take it to the grave.
yeah, exactly right, so may as well spend it now, but did learn a few things, so I recommend going. Anyways, sorry, back to the Collingwood game. So let's get into footy.
Yeah.
We've got obviously big game coming up this weekend, but I just wanted to review Collingwood game first. So that was on Thursday night.
Yeah.
It was actually like a really close game for 3 quarters, I'd say. And we even got close enough for Wharfie time to be played, which as a spectator was sensational. How did it feel for you out there? It might have been really exciting. I don't know.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I liked it. Obviously, it'd be nice to win. But I felt I don't know what I'm grappling for here. I'm trying to find something. The style, not the style, but
the way you played compared to the previous weeks.
Yeah, it was, I mean,
improvement.
You never want to lose, but the improvement was there, the growth was there. And I feel like if and we have to play that way. And if we do, it'll lead us down the path of winning more games than we don't. So
kind of like the risk versus reward as well here, like with that style of play. You obviously, I found you were playing a lot more risk and like dangerously kind of attacking through the corridor, and there were passages of play where kind of you were hitting those kicks. 45s through the corridor, got to launch pad, and then went inside 50. Looked really, really good, and it was great to watch. So that's kind of what you're touching on, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we cop it about our ball movements boring, our this is that, and all that's that. But we had 4 skill errors that led to 4 goals in the first quarter, which if you just take them out, that's 4 goals.
Yep.
And then we reviewed the game on the weekend where we had about 5 times where blokes either in the goal square or just outside the goal square either failed to execute or, probably had a shot when they should have just looped one over the top, and that's 4 or 5 goals there, and that's all of a sudden, it's a big difference in the game. So if we can just get the little things right.
Just should have probably just given the ball to you, Job, because you had one of the best games I've ever seen you play. Bit of leather poisoning, I reckon.
I wouldn't go that far.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just going to rattle off the stats because you had 33 disposals, 8 marks, 4 tackles, 134 fantasy points. That's a bloody good performance.
Yeah, but it doesn't really mean much, I suppose, when you lose, to be honest. I'd rather win and play crap.
No, of course. And that's not just a cliche answer. Of course. But I'm just saying, you should take, you had a great game.
Thank you.
Off the halfback. Would have liked to have seen a few more of your goals outside 50 and some celebrations, but that's okay. Maybe this week.
Yeah. You missed an important stat, though. This is my favourite stat. I attended a centre bounce. Didn't do anything, but I attended a centre bounce on the weekend.
What do you mean?
I was in the square for a centre bounce.
Where was I? What?
I don't know. You're obviously not watching. We had a little bit of a thing going
when I saw you at the centre bounce. That's
I had to, Wags would go to halfback, I'd go to the wing and push Jono in.
Yep,
but
nice.
if I couldn't get to Jono's wing, I'd just take the centre bounce and I'd run out. Jono, stay over there, mate.
I'm attending.
I'll take this one. And then...
what'd you do, just block?
Nothing. This was like a spectator.
Oh, gorgeous.
So there's 51,001 in the crowd because I was also a spectator for that centre bounce.
No, that's unreal.
Yeah, but no, that's my favourite moment of the game. I actually got to attend a centre bounce. But
no, we'll love it. Like I said, it was actually a really, really good game to watch. Obviously, Collingwood are an amazing team. And more importantly as well, we obviously have different things that we're celebrating as a club each round as well. And it was the Purple Hands Foundation game.
Yep.
So you spoke about the 51,001 spectators with you there, but we actually managed to raise over $70,000, which was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, that's massive for the Purple Hands sort of foundation that we've got set up. That's still a very significant amount of money that's going to be put towards a very good cause for the club. Obviously, it goes to at-risk youths or disadvantaged youths, to help them get involved and achieve some of their dreams through the power of sport. So
exactly. So even though we didn't win, we won in that department. So well done, team.
Are you attached to any Purple Hands ambassador? Are you an ambassador for any?
I did a bit last year. I worked for a youth mental health organisation that works with kids and mental health, and they do seminars each year where it's mainly school-age kids, but just basically educating them around mental health, the strategies they can use. And then at Freo here, we use Purple Hands to bring those kids in, I guess high-risk kids into the club here, show them what we do, and then use sport as a way to tackle their feelings
Yep.
and their mental health concerns as well. So have been involved, which has been incredible.
Yep.
And obviously onwards and upwards for that program, and then Purple Hands Foundation moving forward. Well, just to cap things off for the Collingwood game, I was actually in the media box on Thursday night with the commentators, the commentary box, which was unbelievable to watch. And just so you know, Kane Corns gave you the biggest pump up I've heard,
Right.
saying that you're one of the most underrated players in the competition.
Right. When I heard Kane Corns just then, I thought I was getting an almighty clip. So I was like, what have I done
Most
wrong?
people would hear that.
Yeah,
but no,
yeah.
I reckon, and I specifically say Kane Corns because he usually tends to give those controversial and negative comments.
Yep.
But for you, you're doing something right
Yeah.
because he likes you.
Well, that's good to hear. Good to know. But
On air and
I
off
actually
air.
do respect Kane Corns because I feel like a lot of the time his opinions are, they upset
Valid.
people, but they're pretty valid. Like, he's honest. He's a honest operator, and I actually think most of his points of views are very valid. So, no. Anyway, we'll keep going there. But so you've actually, speaking of Channel 7 Combox, whatever you're doing, you did a media course in the pre-season.
Yes.
They didn't happen to teach you about keeping an inside voice or anything like that?
This man, honestly, I thought you were going to teach me that when you came down for our football session a few months ago. No, I did. I'm wanting to obviously dabble in media a bit more.
Yeah.
And so I went to Melbourne. Was lucky enough the club gave me the opportunity to go to Melbourne for a 2-day course that the AFL runs. There's something called Workplay. You would have heard of it, Jordan.
No.
Basically provides athletes, not just female athletes, with opportunities outside of football in different jobs to obviously gain work experience and qualifications. So was able to go over there, learn off the best. We had a lot of keynote speakers come in and speak to us, got to meet the producers of Channel 7, and obviously was with 16 other AFLW or ex-AFLW players that want to obviously make a mark in the industry as well. Certainly not interested in commentary, even though I do have a loud voice. And I tell you right now, there's already one Jonathan Brown, and if I got into commentary, I sound like Jonathan Brown after I've been speaking for an hour or so. So you do not want to hear that.
Yeah, no. I don't want to argue with you, but I'll have to agree. I'm like, that's a new nickname for you. Call you Brownie.
Brownie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
No.
But
what were some key learnings out of that media training for you live on air? Like, should you be swearing as much as you do?
Okay, well, I don't know why I'm giving the key learnings when he's clearly giving me feedback himself.
Well, I've heard you live on radio swear multiple times with the F-bomb.
Yeah, well, that was quite hard. It was away from the mic, in fact. They still heard me, unfortunately.
Yeah, so...
You wouldn't be able to tell it's me, though, I don't reckon.
Oh, it was either you or Jonathan Brown. Can't remember.
It's only two culprits.
But no, that's cool. That's very cool. And by the way, I didn't know that. What was that thing you say?
Workplay.
Workplay.
Yeah, look it up. Give you some opportunities outside of this.
Sweet. Sounds good. But yeah, anyway, so obviously you've started back up at football now.
Yes.
Still about you and the girls program, but we've got many new recruits.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going? How are they fitting in?
Yes, great question. No, they're actually been unbelievable, and you've probably seen as well that they certainly aren't shy wallflowers. They do come in and they want to talk to everyone. They want to get around the men's program, the coaches, the staff members, and actually get to know everyone. And I think that's a huge tick for me already, is that their character is just so good. We've had all of them just embrace coming in early as well to do this pro block period where we had the 3 months of training, obviously, prior to pre-season. And they've all impressed me. Like, I think this is this next generation of girls that have played Auskick and are coming in and are unreal.
Yeah. No, I remember actually, it wasn't any of the recruits that I saw, but remember when I came down and I watched Gabby Newton kick the football.
And I literally said to you, before you'd even said, I said, wait till you see Gabby Newton kick the ball.
Yeah. No, Gabby Newton's a very, very good kicker of footy.
Yep.
You can't even make me jealous the way she's kicking it. She's got me covered.
But it's unreal. So I can't speak a bad word about them. We've got Bella Smith come over from Sydney as well. So obviously she's a senior player that's had experience at another club. We were lacking a key forward last year, so the fact that she can come in and fulfil that role, but also bring her prior experience has been amazing. And then obviously our new draftees as well. They're just guns already. Like, I think there's, they obviously know that there's room for growth, but the fact that they're coming in willing to learn, and they've already got these kind of fundamentals. I just cannot believe, the one thing that gets me is I would have come in as this scrawny kid or like having no idea how to lift, like simple things like gym movements. They all know how to move.
Yeah.
And they're all jacked.
Yeah. Well, you're from Northam. It's pretty sheltered.
Yeah, there's a couple of dumbbells. That's about it.
Yeah.
There. Pretty sheltered. Cattle farm. I'd say I've been lifting heavy since day dot, mate.
That's fair enough. But speaking of girls football and youth women's football, you are coaching at the that club, the Perth Demons. Any pointers?
Poison on your tongue, mate.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I am doing some coaching as well outside of footy. I coach the youth girls, so the Rogers Cup girls, which are anywhere between kind of 14 to 18 years old.
Head coach?
Not head coach, no. Backline coach, of course.
Yep.
The bad backs. And yeah, it's been really good, to be honest. We've got, again, a variety of kind of age groups there, but I think to see the development actually happening at that level is really amazing, and I think that's why I love it. It's so rewarding, is that you tell these girls one thing on a Wednesday night and then they're implementing it on a Friday.
Yep.
And I think just the fact that they're constantly wanting to learn and they're at that position where they haven't got, established patterns of movement or how they play the game or actually know their role, I think the fact that you can then help them determine that is really, really exciting. And we've been doing pretty well. I think we've lost 1-2, lost 2 maybe.
Yep.
1-2, lost 3. So we're doing pretty
Correct
well.
me if I'm wrong, that's one of their better seasons.
Yeah,
results-wise.
100%.
Yep.
So Perth have recently just come in with the women's program. So this is only the second year that we're running the youth girls program, and then league girls have just come in this year. So fairly raw, obviously lots to learn, but the fact that we can see change at a developmental level will hopefully mean that our league girls are successful in a few years as well. And the fact that, credit to the program, we've been able to take young girls up into the league side as well to give them exposure heading into the draft, especially for our 17, 18-year-olds. I guess is a credit to what we're doing as a coaching team. So it's good, Jordan. I'll keep you updated.
That's awesome. I'd love to hear about that.
Love to hear about Perth. We have got GWS on the road this weekend. You.
Yep.
I want to know how you're
one
feeling.
club.
One club, of course. How are you feeling heading into the game? And you fly out tomorrow. Talk us through what's going to happen in the next few days.
I'm pretty clear on my role, which I like to get clear on throughout the week. And, yesterday I cleared that up, stoppages, what I need to do, what they do.
Stoppages, he's talking about CBDs. He's going to attend a few
I'm
more, you
going to
reckon?
be running and get one off. No, I'm not. But,
12 o'clock, hit me here.
Yeah, for me, it's about narrow down my role and what I'm required to do. So, I feel like I'm in a good spot. Obviously, one day tomorrow to tie that all together. But I'm feeling confident that we can put out a very good product of football and go close or not close and just smash them.
I've just got a question for you because we rarely talk about football outside of here.
Yep.
But I found it really hard. I guess we're obviously both playing back. Does your role change every single week? And if so, how do you adapt to it changing? Because I've found this is something that I've probably struggled with, as some weeks I'm playing as on a tall or like a key defensive role, and then other weeks my role might be I can run off the halfback.
Yep.
Talk us through, I guess, if that's the same with you, obviously.
Yeah,
I'm not seeing you take on anyone massive, but...
Yeah. Well, I'd feel sorry for them if that take me on. No, in all honesty, I think go to the weekend. I played halfback for a bit, like high halfback, controlling the stoppages, and then I went to the wing for a period of the game. Attended a centre bounce for the period of the game, and then ended up in the goal square playing deep, like 100 metres off the ball on Nick Dacos for probably a quarter and a bit. But like back a couple of years ago, if I got asked to do one of those things in a game, I probably would have gone severely off task or worried about how it changes my game and how it's going to impact my performance. And whereas on the weekend it was just like, absolutely, I'll do that. Like, how good's this? Let's go. Like,
Yeah.
It was one of those things now where you just put the team first. The betterment of the team is what you want. You want to win, and however I can help the team win is what I'll do. And make no bones about it. Every single person, I don't care who you are, has a preferred position where they want to play. but you don't always get to play there. So I hate when people...
What is in your preferred is halfback?
Yeah.
Running off?
Well, I'm probably, in my view, probably a key forward that comes at the foot, but JT's just in my spot at the moment. But no, I'm definitely...
I'd pay money to see you in the cage as a key forward.
I prefer playing high, halfback, up around the stoppage, that sort of stuff, working with the mids. But yeah, that's sometimes, like I said, you don't get a choice. You get told this is how you're going to do, and the team needs you to do this, and you just
adapt.
Sweet,
and you just embrace it.
Yep.
I guess rather than overthinking it, you just go in being like, I'm going to keep to my strengths, but I'm just playing in a different position.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's taken me a long time to actually, my 7th year now? Like, it's taken me my first 4 years, I probably wouldn't have had that mindset. It probably would have been, you're trying to find your feet, so you want to play well, but now I'm like, nah, whatever the team needs, I'll do it.
Love it. So, speaking of the GWS game, the Indigenous jumper has just dropped.
Yep.
It was designed by the club legend, Jeff the Whiz Farmer, and we were actually speaking off air before, Jord, about potentially getting a guest in that was an ex-player, but kind of a legend of the game, and he would be the best. So, let's tee this up. That's on you, please.
Righto.
But how excited are you to wear the Indigenous jumper, and what does Indigenous round mean to you?
Yeah, no, I obviously am not Indigenous, but, we have a large contingent of Indigenous players in our men's team at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Sonny's not playing out there at the moment. Narks has just been injured, but I assume Bolts, Duds, Moose, they'll be, super proud to represent that this weekend.
So
obviously, I'd say most of those boys would have looked up to the Wiz when they were little boys, and he would have been one of their idols. So to wear a jumper that's designed by him that tells his family story from, I believe it starts in Tambalup, it's pretty special not only to the Wiz, but to those Indigenous boys in particular in our team that have probably looked up to him and wanted to be like him ever since they were about knee-high to a grasshopper. So, I think for me it's really cool to actually see those people come together, the Indigenous people, and everyone sort of unite together, and it's a special week. You get to do all the celebrations, hear their stories, and you get to see how important it is to them as well. So I think that's one thing in particular that the Indigenous people do really well is they celebrate their culture. They're very proud of it. It means a lot to them, and I think it's a good thing to try and implement in our lives as well.
And something we do so well at the club here, I would say, as well, is celebrating that diversity, which has been awesome. We had Harmony Day in the off-season as well, where we had different players come in and cook a different cuisine that was from their family background. So, again, small things like that, it may seem small, but it is really significant in the fact that we're moving forward as a club and obviously wanting to celebrate everyone, no matter what their background is. So I love that we obviously really ramp up around Indigenous round to celebrate our Indigenous athletes, but just really they want to celebrate us as much as we want to celebrate them as well, and it just reduces that segregation there. And I think as a club, like I said, we are probably, I would say, I'm biased, but one of the best at doing it, probably thanks to our amazing events comms team as well. So the boys will be wearing that jumper for GWS this weekend and then at home against Port Adelaide as well. And I guess just speaking of incredible people, we may as well move into our segment that we usually do at the start of the podcast, but this week's we're in shambles. So we're going to go into our Anchors in Action.
Hey, put on your Superman coat. It's Wolfie time. Let's go.
All right, George, do you want to explain what this segment is about here?
Yep, I will. It's usually about an unsung, it is about an unsung hero around the club who doesn't probably get enough credit, or even if they do get enough credit, it's someone that's very important to the playing group or to the individual, which is us two today. But we usually do it at the start of the show. We've had
and we usually nominate Paulie.
Yeah, and Paulie, you are not in it today, but we've had a fair bit to catch up on. So, Em, do you want to kick it off?
Yep, sure. So obviously, as is hard, we've just started pre-season, but just want to give a shout out to Lisa Webb, our head coach, and then the coaching director in Cam Shepherd, who have basically put together the whole pro block we just did, which is obviously the off-season programming where they've enabled us to come into the club here, do some skills work, and obviously make sure we're still working on things in the off-season. And then just a small shout out for Max Duffy. He's actually a skills specialist coach and has done some work with the men's program, and then has actually given up his time to come and help our women's program with kicking technique and kicking analysis as well, which I think is really important, and his advice is invaluable. So thank you, Max. And I do have one more, I'm so sorry. But Anya Tai is also one of our players. She's currently on a long-term injury list at the moment with her ACL. She will be back this season. But she actually runs our Next Generation Academy, and obviously we just spoke about how incredible it is to see these young girls come through. So without someone like Anya running that program and enabling young people to come and see what we're all about here, but practice those skills in an elite environment, we won't be progressing forward. So thank you, Anya.
And that's all we've got time for because Em's just nominated 3. So
4 actually, yeah.
Nah, 4. Oh,
Well,
that's how I'm going.
I think 4 is better than 1.
They obviously don't teach you at the media conference to read the criteria, but
Okay,
that's
well,
all right.
I'm just going to say it was one topic, and that was under coaching staff.
Anyway,
all coaches.
That's well done to all 4 of those individuals. And
I don't
you
even
don't
want to
get
hear yours now.
You don't get a say for the next 4 weeks. My anchor in action is someone the club probably, or the supporters and the spectators probably don't know much about, but it's the backs coach. Yes, I'm going to be biased because I work under him.
See, we've both
he
done
coaches me.
coaches.
That sounds weird. I work under him. No, that's weird. I'm a backline player and he's the coach. But big twig, Jade Rawlings.
I'm a backline player. I hate that.
Anyway, I'm nominating Twig, Big Jade Rawlings, the man of many nicknames. But no, obviously,
Why?
yes, getting there.
Oh.
Coming in, obviously, it's been a tough period for Twig. He had to, move his whole family over to WA, but he jumped straight in, took over the backs, built relationships outside of football with us boys, and he hasn't left any stone unturned. He's very honest. He's very caring. He develops us as people, not just footballers, which I think is very important. He juggling all these balls in the air about his family. They were in Adelaide. He was trying to move them over, got to find work for his wife and that sort of thing. So I think we can't discredit the amount of effort and stuff that takes to not only try and worry about 20 blokes in the back line and on an individual basis, but also his relationships in the building and sorting out his family stuff as well. And I think he's slotted in seamlessly. And lastly, to top it off, he's got 2 bung knees, can hardly walk properly, and stands under the marking bag every day at training. So
what a legend.
He ended up in the doc's office yesterday after stacking it. So that's how much he gives to the boys,
Dedicates
even though
his time.
he's walking off the track feeling like he's been run over by a truck. He's still happy to throw himself out there and do anything he needs to make the people around him better. So yeah, it's a bit of a long-winded nomination, that.
Yeah, actually.
I just had to try and match M's. So.
Pot calling the kettle. And they're both black, in fact, because you've just gone for 2 minutes there.
Yes. But anyway, moving on, the People's segment is back for 2025. So get around us with your voice memos. We'll try and answer a fair few more of those this year. I think we're going to do a little bit of a different sort of setup this year. We're yet to confirm that, though, so we'll get back to you with that. But, yeah, the link will obviously be in the show notes or on your podcast app or even in the YouTube description. So we look forward to hearing from you people again and getting the show rolling once more. We'll have a special guest next week, yet to lock in who that is. So we'll keep you guessing about that one.
But keep watching because we're going to keep the suspense going.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we will stay tuned for the next few episodes.
Beautiful.
Of the Better Down Back podcast with Emma O'Driscoll and Jordan Clark.
Powered by Jordan and Emma.